It sucks. It's a horrible feeling. When you hear from people, you know, we'll talk about you and we'll say, oh, like you're not meant to be a fighter, or you don't have the personality for it. Especially when it happens multiple times in a row, and you start putting in effort. You start thinking, oh, have I done enough? Have I done this?
Okay, cool.
My name is Marcus. I am 22 years old. I'm originally from the Philippines, but now I live here in Brighton, and I'm training to be a boxer and a fighter. I basically started with boxing like a couple of years back. Basically just like did it in the Philippines, started with boxing, and then I moved here, started to do like more mixed stuff.
Yeah.
Like I went to like a self-defense thing called IMA in Sussex Uni. It was really good. It made a really good foundation, like kickboxing, Muay Thai, that whole thing. And then started just exploring, so I do boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and wrestling. I would say my main goal is probably just, in general, to, see how far I can take this process, really. Get to a high level, ideally, whether it be, representing my country in high-level amateur competitions, whether it be being able to get the opportunity to fight professionally. Essentially just seeing how far can I take this journey, how far can I take this process, and, see if I have what it takes really to be up there with some of the best. For the home show, yes, for my last fight, I did get a title from that. If I'm being honest, it's an interesting thing of not allowing yourself to feel the pressure of it, but also reminding yourself of what got you there. I think a lot of the time, when you say in your head, you get your first title, you get your first fight, you hold it up to a certain standard and just start putting a lot of pressure on yourself. I don't necessarily let it get to me, at least so far. I would say more of the pressure is just in the sense of keeping disciplined with what I do and making sure I stay dedicated where I can. I would say, it's trying to constantly remind yourself what got you there, which is, to train and work hard. So I don't think I'd necessarily say that there's any additional pressure from a title being added or a title being lost. Ultimately, at the end of the day, a fight is a fight, and for me at this stage, I'm more just focused on my personal development and trying to just improve as a whole. So for this upcoming fight, at least to my understanding at the moment, it's meant to be a rematch with my last opponent for another title, I believe, on our home show. I think, when I look at my game plan and when I look at what happened with my previous performance, it was definitely good. It was a close fight for sure. And it was a close fight with a very experienced opponent. But yeah, trying to build on it so that it's a more definitive victory, whether it be, dominant decision or, hopefully, a finish.
Doing alright?
Good morning.
Good morning, mate.
Nice.
Very early, isn't it?
It's so early. The reason I said it would be early is because I was hoping it was sunshine and rain.
You know, I grew up very, very privileged, I'd like to think, and I'm very, very grateful for everything that, you know, my family and my loved ones have done for me. But I definitely had my struggles on the mental side for sure. So basically, with most of my diet anyway, I follow a nutrition program that I got, and it's the program I've stuck to for the last couple of years. Basically, it's the reason I'd like to think that, along with the exercise program, that I went from 120 kilos down to 79 now, because yeah, I basically just stuck to it, really. So I just have a lot of faith in it. That's basically all I can say, really. I used to be very overweight, you know, out of shape, get made fun of a lot as a kid, and just be the butt of the joke, really. So for me, I did not feel very confident in my, you know, self-image, self-esteem. And again, being out of shape and, you know, overweight, I do just have plenty of memories of just, you know, always being, you know, made fun of or being the butt of the joke. And of course you could talk about how, did you mean it or not as kids? You know how it is, right? When you grow up, you change, I'm sure, but you know, at the time, and obviously sometimes still now, I think about it and, you know, it crosses my mind and, you know, still can affect me in some ways, but. I think boxing put me, and fighting in general, just put me in a very, very good place in terms of giving me a sense of direction, a sense of purpose, an outlet for negative emotions. Just helped me a lot. And it was just, at first, a way for me to, you know, let out my frustration and be an outlet, I suppose. But eventually it started becoming something I love genuinely, and something that I built a passion for. So basically, best way of me putting it is, again, from my understanding, the guy I was meant to rematch is fighting on another show. So because of that, I ended up asking if there were any fight opportunities available, because I did not want training camp to go to waste. And yeah, we managed to get an opponent, and yeah, hopefully we should be ready to go for this Saturday. It's my first Muay Thai fight. I have been sparring in it I have been doing sparring in Muay Thai and kickboxing for a decent amount of time now, a few years as well. But obviously, the jump, as I'm sure a lot of people that have done fighting or competing know, the jump from sparring to competition can be big. So I would say, yeah, there's a lot of apprehension, especially with the new rule set, new challenges, but at the same time, with that apprehension comes a lot of excitement, because, you know, it's something new. In my experience, it is borderline all-consuming. For me, it's a bit of a blessing and a curse, because it makes me feel good about myself. You know, when you aren't fighting and when you're not training, there's always that itch in the back of your mind, at least for me, that's saying, you know, you need to be training, you need to be doing better, you need to constantly keep improving. Any rest you take, in my mind, comes off as a detriment. Like, I ended up losing my first 5 fights, and I lost them all because, well, yeah, I was not training hard, and I was very, very lazy. I used to be overweight, and it sucks. It sucks. There's nothing else I can say. It sucks. It's a horrible feeling when you know, especially when it happens multiple times in a row, when you start putting in effort. You start thinking, oh, have I done enough? Have I done this? And, you know, when you hear from people that will talk about you and will say, oh, like you're not meant to be a fighter, or you don't have the personality for it, or you don't behave like we would expect a winning fighter to behave. And so like, yeah, it all adds up and it all builds up. But I will say, because of that and because of those hard lessons, it forges you, and it makes more armor in your mind. At least for me, it instills a sense of armor, dedication, more discipline, and it's all building, and it just slowly, day by day, gets better, and hopefully just keeps building.
I'm doing time at work.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, you just put your job or whatever you have.
Access to on the sink.
You're a bit high for a young lad like you, but nothing
What
I'm
your weight
worried
is?
about at all.
72.5.
Your pulse is really good, so we've done a lot of cardio.
So no reason to
smashed
have
it.
problems and you're not on any kind of medication.
Thank you.
You don't see it necessarily, because sometimes, like for me, like I'll just be looking down on the floor. It's just kind of that sense of that question, like, did I do enough? And sometimes, honestly, that answer is no. You look back and, that walk to the dressing room and unwrapping your hands and just kind of staring blankly down at the floor, like, and realizing, it's happened again, despite more training you've done. It is a sinking, horrible feeling.
No, it was a good experience. Good to get out of the way. Fought with elbows, which is cool. Landed like 2. But yeah, he did really well. You live and you learn, dude. Live and you learn.
There's a quote that I always love thinking about, and it's called, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than be a gardener in a war, because you understand how hard times can be, you understand how difficult things can be. So when you are in that garden, when you are having good moments and being peaceful, you appreciate it all the more, and then you learn to value life and everything as a whole.